Hello artists, welcome to your dragonfly painting class. In front of you, you should have your canvas long ways like so, a cup of water, a large brush, a smaller brush, a paper towel. For your colors, you should have green, purple, that orange brown kind of paprika color, a light blue, a dark blue, black, and white. I do recommend grabbing a plate for this class so you can mix colors on it as well. If you do not have all those materials in front of you, you're welcome to push pause and get started whenever you're ready. So the first thing we're all going to do together is grab our two brushes, dip them in our cup of water, and just kind of swirl them around, get our brushes nice and clean. And once we're done, we can just gently pat them onto our paper towel, like so. With this painting, we are going to start with the background and then build forward little by little. So for our background, we're going to start with our larger brush and our lighter blue. So large brush, light blue. We're going to create kind of like a triangle shape by making a slanted line like so. So it's a diagonal coming up almost to that halfway point. And on the right side, we'll do the same thing, almost meeting in the middle on the top. So almost like we're creating two diagonal shapes going up to the top of our canvas. Once you're done with that, you can go back to your light blue and your big brush, and the space above these lines, you're just going to be painting in a diagonal kind of formation, all of the light blue. And you do want to cover up all that white space. So I'm going up. So again, this is kind of like the halfway point. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll build some more light blue on there a little bit later. Same to the right side, more light blue, all that space to the right. And I'm again painting in a diagonal formation with my big brush, filling up all that space. I want to cover it up on both sides. So my canvas is covered with the light blue. You do want to also paint the left side, the right side, and the top parts where it kind of curves over. So let me show you how. I'm going to take my light blue and just kind of make a little bit of a diagonal line and work my way up at a diagonal and paint all that space above where my line curves over with my light blue. I'm going to paint it all into almost a solid light blue, so you don't see too much of the white canvas underneath it. Same with the top part. I'm going to kind of curve up into a diagonal and paint all that space to the left. You'll be doing the same thing to the right side. So once you're done, you make a diagonal line coming down and to the right, and then make your line coming down and to the right with your light blue. And we'll do the same thing to the top that we did on the left side. And I'm coming in, and then I'll come down and to the right, like so. It's almost like a curtain on the left side and the right side. If you accidentally paint it in the middle, not a problem. We'll fill in that space a little bit more here in just a moment. So if you accidentally went into this part right here, not a problem. So the left side, the right side, the top, and the front of our canvas. Right. And take your time, and if you're still working on this step, you're welcome to push pause. But whenever you're done, you are going to make another curtain. I'm going to come in a little bit more on the top. I'm going to come down all the way. I'm going to go up to the very top, and this is actually going to meet up at the top of this point right here. I'm gonna come down all the way to the bottom corner. So it's an upside down V shape. So go up and then down. And now I'm creating even more of a curtain coming in. And I'm gonna paint all the space above this line, all white, all this white space. Same with this area. Again, using that kind of diagonal brush stroke. Same light blue, same big brush. You're gonna fill up all that space. Nice long lines. You don't wanna have a short choppy line, so be sure. You can even go up above the line, the paint from before. But you wanna make sure it looks nice and smooth. I'm gonna slowly cover up all this space right here. Like so. And same on the right side. I'm gonna go up and above this line. Paint all that space to the right. From one edge to the next. Covering up that white canvas. All right, and we are going to paint the rest of the left side up and to a diagonal. So we're going to come up. So all of the left side will be painted. And then same thing on the right side, but I'm going to be coming down with my line, down and to the right. You don't have to worry about the very bottom part of your canvas. We'll paint that a darker blue later. And the top part, you can just be painting it just kind of up and down like so. Perfect. So you have your upside down V shape. You've painted in a diagonal on the left and the right side. Make sure most of that white is covered up. It's okay if there's a little bit of white peeking through, but you definitely want to get some good coverage on your canvas. Perfect. And if you're still working on this step, you're welcome to push pause on the video. But the next thing we're going to do is fill up this space with that same light blue with our same big brush, but we're going to be moving more up and down. So let me show you how, and you're welcome to join in when you're ready. So I'm just going to be going into that space. It's okay if I go a little bit above this point, but I want to definitely keep it in this white area. So I'm kind of going more up and down. Just kind of filling up that space. If you're having a hard time moving your light blue paint, you can always add water to your big brush, tap it on the paper towel, and just go over your blue. That'll help it move a little bit easier. So I am kind of slanting my brush just a little bit on the right and the left, but more straight as I go in the middle. My light source will be coming from up here, so I just want those rays to look like they're coming up and down. Again, you want to get a good coverage with this light blue. You don't want the white on your canvas to really be peeking through. And nice long lines so you don't have those short choppy movements with your brush showing. To look nice and smooth. And you can add water to your brush, tap it on your paper towel about 4 or 5 times, and go over your blue paint if you need it to kind of smooth out a little bit and move a little bit easier. All right, so then we have our light blue background. Whenever you're done, you don't have to wash your brush, so you can keep that same light blue on your brush. And if you're still working on this step, again, you're welcome to push pause on the video. But whenever you're done, you can just tap some of that light blue off on your paper towel. Next, you're gonna go to your dark blue. And I'm gonna add some sweeps of dark blue. That's whenever I'm just kind of flicking my brush so I get those feathery thin ends. But I'm gonna be sure that I'm going at a diagonal up on the left side, diagonal left up on this side, and going more up and down. Maybe about 5 sweeps on the left, on the right, and in the middle. So let me show you how. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe get another good one. 5 on the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the middle. So up and to the right, up and to the left, and sweeping in the middle. Once I'm done, maybe tap some of that dark blue off of your brush onto your paper towel, and then all you're gonna do is add water. Tap 4 or 5 times on your paper towel and just go over that blue with some water on your brush. Again, nice long smooth lines, and be sure you're going in the directions of your sweep to kind of keep that same formation that we did with our light blue. Water, tap, 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 and then go over your dark blue. And if you feel like you got too much dark blue on there, just let it dry for a little bit, and then you can go back over it with your light blue again. You just have to give it some drying time so it doesn't blend as much. Go over the whole thing, make sure it looks nice and smooth, going from one edge to the next. Like so. And again, if you feel like you got too much dark blue on there, you can always push pause on the video. Maybe give your painting a minute to dry, and then go over with some sweeps of light blue, maybe adding some water to your brush and just having them move together a little bit better with some water on the brush. All right, once you're done with your light blue and your dark blue, you don't have to clean your big brush. You can just tap it on your paper towel about 5 or 6 times. And then we're going to be doing the same thing with our white, where we add 5 sweeps on the left, 5 sweeps on the right, 5 sweeps in the middle, then add water, tap, 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 and go over it to smooth it out. So I just wiped off some of the dark blue, went into the white, sweeping up into a diagonal, so 5 on the left side, 5 on the right side, and 5 going long ways like this. 3, 4, 5. And then I can add some water, maybe tap some off, and then just go over it to smooth out the white. And it'll be the light coming down from the sun. So the left side, do more water, tap, tap, tap. The right side. From one edge to the next, nice long smooth lines, and then kind of working more in an up and down motion. Beautiful. And if you did want to go back to add some more dark blue, light blue, more white, you're welcome to kind of go back and tweak it a little bit and add what you need. I think I'm going to go back for a little bit more dark blue. Make it a little bit darker. That's absolutely up to you. If you want your water to be a little bit darker, add more of the dark blue. If you want it to be more lighter, add more of the light blue or the white. Make sure you have a good amount of each working in there so one's not overpowering. So good amount of the blues and the white. Maybe more white, tap, tap, tap. Just kind of get it exactly where you want it. Perfect. All right, so I have my blues and my white. Once I'm done, I'm gonna dip my brush in the water, get it nice and clean by swirling it around. It's my big brush, so I'm actually gonna clean it. And then I'm gonna tap some of it off onto my paper towel. And again, if you're still working on this part, you're welcome to push pause on the video, but be sure to go immediately into the next step. Don't let this blue dry. Once I was done, wash and dry my big brush, I'm gonna go into that purple. And I'm not gonna wanna go too much past the halfway point, but with my purple, I'm just gonna be sweeping up and not quite in the middle. So this is your middle point, but I'm going up and to the right with these sweeps of purple on the left side. You don't have to worry about the bottom. And on the right side, again, not too much further past the middle point. And I can add some water to my brush to have that purple blend in a little bit more. Maybe like 15 to 20 sweeps going up and towards the middle on both sides, and then adding water to our brush. And again, we're flicking with our big brush so we get those thinner feathery ends. Go in there and all. And if you feel like it's blending too much with your blues and you can't see it, let your canvas dry for about a minute and then you can go back to your purples. It's a good place right there. And then I'm gonna wash, or not, excuse me, I'm gonna put my big brush in the water, tap it on my paper towel, and then go over my purple so it kind of blends in a little bit better with my blues. So left side, right side, I'm just kind of flicking over it. A nice, almost like a lavender or light purple. Coming up both directions, like so. And then once you're done, again, take your time. 10 to 15 flicks that way, 10 to 15 flicks that way, not quite hitting the middle. Adding water, tap, 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 going over the purple. You are gonna wash and dry your brush again once you're done. And you're gonna go into the dark blue next. And again, if you're still working on this step, push pause. When you're ready, you wanna go straight into the next step. So I cleaned my big brush and I dried it a little bit. I'm gonna add dark blue to it. And now I'm gonna be going more up. So it's almost like grass where I'm just flicking up with my brush, about an inch, inch and a half. I can go over my purple a little bit too. Going from the left side to the right side, I'm gonna go all the way across from one side to the next. And I'm starting at the edge and I'm just kind of flicking up. If you feel like it's blending in too much with your background, so if if the colors are mixing together too much, just let it dry for a little bit. And then you can add some dark blue. But again, I'm just flicking up with my bigger brush. Like so. And I'm not gonna add any water on top of this. I want it to kind of stay how dark it is, because if I add water, it is gonna lighten it up just a little bit. If you do need to lighten up your dark blue, then you do add water and just kind of help that water blend in a little bit with the background, but you want it to still definitely be darker than all those blends in the back. Also on the bottom part, so the very bottom that we haven't painted yet, you can just take your dark blue and just in an up and down formation with your big brush. Get it nice and covered from left side to right side or right side to left side. Doesn't really matter, but you want to complete your canvas by painting the very bottom dark blue. So then all 4 of your sides should be completely covered. Get it nice and covered like so. Bring it down. Before I do my next step, I do definitely want the background to be dry. So I'm actually going to push pause on my video and give my canvas about 5 to 10 minutes to dry, because I do want to build my florals and my dragonflies on top, but I need everything in the background to be nice and dry before I do. So again, give your canvas about 5 to 10 minutes to dry where it doesn't look shiny, and then you're welcome to come back to the video and we can all paint the next half together. All right, artists, see you in a All right, artists, we're back and my canvas is mostly dry. I see little shiny spots here, so I'm going to avoid that at first. But I do want to show you the next step whenever you're ready for it. Again, be sure that your background is nice and dry before you start. Our next step is building our black and green lines, like our stems for our flowers. We are going to use our small brush. If you want to get it wet and tap it on the paper towel. Remember, with your small brush, the harder you push, the thicker the lines become. So you just want to be on the tippy toes of your brush for your stems because you want nice thin lines. And hold it where the gold is, or the front part of your brush, so you have good control and not back here where it's all wobbly. If you want to watch first and then jump in whenever you're ready, you can. But again, kind of avoid these wet spots. I'm going to give those a little bit kind of more time to dry before I go in there and get anywhere too close to them. So small brush, got it wet, tapped it on my paper towel, holding it where the gold is, just a little bit of black. I am going to flick with my brush again to create those thinner ends on my paintbrush stroke. On the left side, I'm going to go in there and just make some sweeps. Coming in, just kind of coming up into a diagonal formation, maybe 3 lines on that side. Then I'm going to kind of go around those shiny purple areas. I want to come in on the other side, maybe 3 or 4 lines, going into the direction that the purple line is going. Maybe I'll just build another one where it was wet, of course. So I'm going to go over that again. Perfect. And then for my black lines, before they dry, I do want to add water to my brush, tap it on the paper towel, and just go over my black with a little bit of water. Be sure to tap that brush on your paper towel before you go on top of the black, maybe 5 or 6 times. Just a little bit of water will smooth it out just a little bit more. Sometimes it comes off kind of harsh. We want to soften it. So I'm just going back in there and adding water, maybe adding more black paint if it seems to be coming up, but I do want it to look a little bit softer. And while they're wet, I'm just kind of grabbing them and make them like that. Maybe going back in there and adding one more line on this left side. Perfect. Then I'm going to add some black lines down here. I do not want to go past this halfway point. I'm going to be going more up, maybe more to the right, a little bit of a slant here and there. Then with my small brush and flicking out just on the tippy toes. I don't want to push too hard. Maybe have some that are shorter. They're kind of all going towards the light a little bit, huh? Maybe as I come in, I can make some more that are a little bit more straight. But be sure you have different heights for your black lines. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down here. So I have like 4 on both sides, and then I have 7 coming up. So, and again, I'm going to go in there and add some water to my brush, tap it on the paper towel, and then go over my black to just kind of smooth it out, make it look a little bit softer. If you need to go back to more black paint, you can. Get rid of those harsh, kind of scratchy lines. A little bit of softness with the water on the brush. And that water is going to help move things, it's going to help smooth things out, and it helps colors blend together with a little bit of water on the brush. Perfect. Once you're done, if you can just tap your small brush onto your paper towel, it doesn't have to be completely cleaned off, but you just want a little bit of black on your brush. And then I'm going to go in there and dip into my green and kind of have that same idea of adding sweeps coming in from the left, the right, and coming up. It's okay if the black and the green touch. It's okay if they cross here and there, but you're just adding more fillers or more stems for your flowers to build on later. So again, I just wiped off my brush on my paper towel with a little bit of black on it, added that green, and then just kind of coming in. Again, you can cross your shape, your green a little bit with your black if you want to. Going in there and adding some greenery. Maybe 3 or 4 on the sides. Have some in the middle. They can cross, or they can just kind of be going on their own. Be sure you're not going past the halfway point with these ones that are building up. On the sides. Maybe adding another one here. I think a good amount. Gonna build our flowers on later. Grab too much black. Go over just a little bit. Maybe some on the left side as well. Perfect. All right. Then I'm gonna let my green dry for a little bit, and I might go back over them to give them a second coat after a minute of drying, just so you can see them a little bit better. I feel like some of the green is kind of disappearing. So I want to brighten it up just a little bit with maybe a second coat of green so you can see it just a little bit better. And if you feel like the green is too harsh, you can add some water to your brush, tap it on your paper towel about 5 or 6 times, and then go over it again. I'm going to go in there, maybe even make some shorter lines down here. I want it to look nice and full, so I might just go in there and add some shorter lines, like so. Have that space filled out really nicely. Perfect. All right, there's the black lines, there's our green lines, kind of coming in and up. I'm going to go ahead and wash and dry my brush. With your stems, give them a couple minutes to dry before you do this next step. Again, you don't want them to be as shiny, but we are going to start building our flowers our flowers, you can use your small brush or your big brush, maybe even do like a practice run on your paper towel so you get a good feel for it. But we're pretty much just going to be jumping up and down with our brush on the left side of the stem, on the right side of the stem, and just a big dot on the top. You'll have some on the bottom, some on the top, left side, right side. Also be aware that later on you are going to be building your dragonflies, one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right. So kind of be aware of where you're going to set your 1, 2, 3 dragonflies later on. For your flowers, you can use your purple, your white, either of your blues. You can mix some together on your plate too, to kind of make it work together. But your flower colors are absolutely up to you. Let me go ahead and do an example. I will start with my big brush and my purple paint. And again, you can do a practice run on your paper towel. I'm gonna work on this stem right here. I'm gonna come maybe almost halfway point, and I'm gonna push down on my brush. I'm just gonna keep it moving on the left side, almost like I'm building a caterpillar. And then on the right side, it's okay if you overlap over your line. Just pushing down with my brush. And then I'm gonna create that point on top. Make it a little bit more full. But there is my first flower. Let's say I wanted to make another purple one. So I'm gonna go in there, do this line, almost the halfway point, the left side, the right side. I'm just kind of pushing up and down. The paint doesn't have to be on there too thick. You can still see some of the colors kind of poking through in the background. There's my second flower. I'll do maybe one more. Maybe have this one down here, the left side of this line. And overlap just a little bit on the right side. And then maybe up here a little touch of those flowers. I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm just going to add a little bit of white and purple on my plate and just have those kind of working together. I'm not going to completely mix it. There's going to be a little bit of both on my brush. Same idea. Maybe come down here and work on this one, because I do want some lower down as well to the right side. It's okay if the dots don't connect. You can have some where the dots are kind of touching one between the next. Since I already have purple and white, I'll do another one here. Underneath it. Then while I still have the purple and white, I can maybe go back for a little bit more. On the left side. On the right side. And on top. Maybe another one lower down here. Don't forget to do some the bottom areas. Left side. The right side. Go back for a little bit more. That one had more white on my brush, which is good. It's nice to have like dark and lights kind of all working together. So I can go back for more white on my brush and make another one that's kind of similar. Too much on there. So maybe a little bit more white with that blend. So it's just a little bit of that purple peeking through now. It's kind of nice to have the variations of dark, medium, and light for those. Maybe go ahead and touch that up just a bit more. Perfect. And then you can do the same thing with your blues. You can use your dark blue. So I'm going to wash and dry my big brush. I'm just going to go back to my blue. That's my dog barking, of course. Left side. Right side. All right. The dog got put outside. The left side, the right side, and then the point on top. Maybe go down just a little bit more. Like so. Maybe I can create another dark blue one over here on this stem. Left side, the right side. one on top. And then if I wanted to add some blue and white at the same time, or a little bit of a mix, I can go in there with a lighter blue. Just be aware if one is crossing the other, be sure that that flower is over the stem behind it. I'm going to do another one over here. So I'm going to kind of create this. And then I can't go over that one, so I'm going to go to the left side because that stem is crossing and I don't really want to make a dot over that stem. I'll maybe create a flower over it in a bit. Same with this one. I have another one that's crossing, so maybe underneath it. And then maybe over, above it. And then like so. And if I wanted to even add even more white to my brush, I can get an even lighter blue up here. This one is overlapping so you can see the whole thing. So just a little bit of blue and white. Perfect. I'm gonna wash and dry my brush. And if I wanted to, I can get an even lighter blue, but I'm okay with the dark and the medium. But if you want an even lighter one, you can do that. Or you can go to your lightest blue that you already have. Oh, sorry, that's a close one. And do the same thing on the left side, on the right side. And then make a point on top. And I just use my big brush, but you're welcome to use your small brush if you feel more comfortable with smaller dots. Go in there. And you don't have to cover every stem with flowers, but it does look really good whenever it looks full, so you definitely want to have a good amount of flowers on there. I'm gonna get another stem. And in just a moment, I'll add some white to this brush and have a medium light blue. So I'm not going to clean my brush. Medium and light blue working on my brush at the same time. Go in there and make one down here. Maybe one more over here. And you can stop whenever you want. You can make as many or as little amount of flowers you want. But again, it does look really good whenever it's nice and full. More white on my brush. Maybe make this one that's a little bit behind it. Going this way. Perfect. All right. Let those dry for a little bit. And whenever you are done with your flowers, again, just kind of avoid any wet areas, but then you can move on to your dragonflies. And if you're still working on your flowers, take your time, push pause on the video. Be sure it looks nice and full. Maybe take a step back, see if you like it or if you want to add more in certain areas. All right. So we are ready for our dragonflies. And again, avoid any wet areas, accidentally smearing your hand. We're only going to use our small brush for this step, so you can wash and dry your big brush and put it away. We're going to start with the bodies, and we're going to use that orangish kind of mix we have. One body's going to go that way, one's going to go that way, and one's going to be a little bit further up and kind of going to the right diagonal kind of area. So again, whenever you're ready for it, small brush only, that orange mix that we have. I'm going to start with the head of this one if you want to watch, and then jump in when you're ready. Close to the top right corner, a little bit further down, I'm going to push down on my small brush for the head, so almost like I'm making a dot. And I'm going to push less and less on my brush as I get closer to the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 9 little segments of its body. Just kind of pushing down and getting smaller and smaller. So I'm pushing less and less. And I want them to be more of an oval shape for those areas. So the body looks something like this. And I'm just pushing down on my brush. I'm just kind of tapping down on it. The second body is going to be over here, a little bit more to the middle, right? Small brush, I'm going to push down on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's keep with that 9 number. I think that's a good size body with 9 little segments. And again, I'm pushing a little bit less and less as I get to the tail of the dragonfly. One more little section up here, kind of going the same direction as this one in the middle, a bit further up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And you can always go back, kind of push a little bit harder and a little bit less to get those shapes back. All right. And once you're done, you can wash and dry your small brush. Wash and dry. And then we're going to work on our wings next. And I'll show you an example on one, and then I'll kind of do the same thing on the other two. With our wings, we are going to use our small brush, make sure it's nice and clean, and our white paint. Underneath the head, where it kind of goes in a little bit, I'm going to come out, almost making a heart shape. So I'm going to come out and meet up underneath the head again. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to come out for the wing and that shape. And then this is where it kind of goes into the heart shape. And I start underneath the head again at that same point. I'm going to come up to where it meets, and then it's going to go out on its own, and then it comes back to underneath its head. Same over with this one. I'm going to come up and line up with that line, and then I'm going to meet back underneath its head. So they all kind of meet right to the left side and to the right side. And then I can use that white paint, whatever is just kind of left in it, just to sweep some white on the left side and on the right side. And mine look kind of uneven, so I'm going to go in there and make this one a little bit longer to make it a little bit more even. And it's okay if you still see some of that blue poking through. It's okay, it doesn't have to be solid. And just sweep some lines and fill up most of the wing space. Add some water to my brush. My white seems kind of dry. Go over it and get that outline shape. And then before my white gets dry, I'm going to kind of pat some of it off on my paper towel and add the tiniest bit of black, like a dot of black, and tap it off on my paper towel. I'm going to start underneath its head and just going to sweep some lines out, just a tiny bit of black, almost like sun rays coming out. I'm going to sweep some black inside each of those sections, and it's going to make a little bit of a gray too, because your white is probably still a little bit wet, like so. And I'll do the same thing to the other two. So I'm going to wash and dry my small brush again. I'm going to start with the white, go underneath its head and come up, meet up, come up, meet up. And I'll start at that point again. I'm going to meet up with that line and then break out, and break out. And then I'm going to go in there and sweep some white lines in there to fill it up. And again, it's okay if you have some blue peeking through. It doesn't have to be solid, but just like sweepy light lines. Go in there and make this one a little bit longer again so they can match a little bit more. Be pretty even. And once I'm done with those two heart shapes, I'm going to wipe off my brush, add the tiniest bit of black on there, tap it on my paper towel, and start at that point and just kind of go out. The sun rays almost halfway, but not quite. Come down into sweeps. And again, if you got too much black on there, you can let it dry and add some white on top of it again if it got too dark with the black. On there and just kind of show some shadows. Perfect. Same with the last one. I'm going to wash and dry my brush. Go in there with that white. Start underneath the head. And come out. I'm going to start at the point, come out and make that heart shape. Come up and out and make that heart shape. And then sweep some white in there. Not having to cover all that blue underneath it. Make sure this one matches a little bit better. Sorry. And then you don't have to wash your brush, but you just tap some of that white off. The tiniest bit of black. Just a tiny, tiny bit. Tap some off on your paper towel and start in that corner. I'm just going to sweep out. Like so. Take your time with these, and I will show you the last step in just a moment. I'm going to wash and dry my brush. I'm going to go back and touch up some of these white sweeps. Go back and add some white to this one, just a little bit. A little bit in this one too. Shapes back. Perfect. Take your time with these, but once you're done, be sure you wash and dry your small brush. Again, I'm going to add the tiniest bit of black to it. So wash and dry my brush. I'm going to go to black, tap some off on my paper towel. I'm going to create some areas of shadow. So on this dragonfly right here, kind of to the left side of its head, that was too much. I'm going to just add some little bit of sweeps of black on the bottom area where less sun is hitting it, and on the bottom part of this one, just little sweeps of black on the right, some on its head area too. Blend that one in just a little bit more. And then on this one, the bottom area of the body where less sun is hitting it, I'm going to just add some tiny bit of black. A little bit of black. Once I'm done, so I'm just kind of adding these little sweeps of black underneath on the body where not as much sunlight is being hit. Once you're done, just adding little sweeps of black. And if you did too much, you can let it dry and go back to your orange. Once you're done adding little bits of black underneath, just kind of side to side underneath its body, wash and dry your small brush, add some white, tap on your paper towel to where there's just a little bit, and you're going to go in there and add a little bit of white, just kind of randomly, different little segments of the body. Here too, Doesn't have to be in each little section, but you want to kind of work a little bit higher up, a little bit more sun is hitting the dragonfly. Like so. And again, if you don't like the black and the white, not a big deal at all. You can always let it dry and kind of go back and add some orange on top. So I have more of the white on the top where it's seeing more sunlight, and underneath is more black where a little bit less sunlight is hitting it. And there's just a little bit of black and a little bit of white on my brush. Just kind of sweeping some here and there very randomly. Go back to maybe a little bit more black. You can go back and forth and kind of mess with this a little bit with your black, your white, and if you want with your orange kind of paprika color as well. Otherwise, you are all done, artists. We did our background, building our blues, our white, our purple, and our darker blue again, our stem work, our flowers, and our 3 dragonflies. Be sure to take your time with your dragonflies, no rush at all. Go back and forth between your orange, your black, and white as you need it to be. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us for this amazing dragonfly class, and hopefully we'll see you soon.